Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation Ethical Theories. My name is Octavio Ramirez. This is for class MPA 580 Legal and Ethical Issues. This is for Dr. David C. Powell at California Baptist University. Okay, so throughout my presentation I'll be talking about four theories, which are natural law, categorical imperatives, utilitarianism, and then contractarianism. I'm also going to apply two of these theories to current examples of public administration. And then I'm also going to talk about virtue and if it still applies to public administration. Okay, so natural law theory was developed by Thomas Aquinas. He believed that not everyone has been exposed to religion, but he believed that God naturally made us equipped with the ability to know what's right and wrong, and that humans seek to meet their basic goods that consist of life, which is self-preservation, reproduction, educating one's offspring, seeking God, and also the desire to be accepted by society and also to shun ignorance. And he also believed that ignorance and our emotions can prohibit us from knowing what's right and wrong. Okay, so categorical imperatives basically was developed by Kant, and it's basically moral obligations derived from pure reasoning. So no matter what, based on your pure reason, the truth is it's always going to be the same truth. Basically, 2 plus 2 equals 4. That's pure reasoning and mathematical reasoning. There's two formulations. There's universality principle, where you always going to say the truth no matter what. You're not going to make any exceptions to benefit yourself. You're always going to say the truth in any kind of situation. There's also the formula of humanity, with meaning that you're not going to deceive human for your own benefit, but that you are just going to say the truth. So you borrow money from someone to go to school, you're going to use that money to go to school and not to go on vacation or purchase a vehicle. So you are locked to that truth all the time. So you're gonna do something, or you're gonna say the truth. You're just not gonna be lying about it. And this is regardless of religion. Basically, it's on pure reason that you're gonna be saying the truth. So, utilitarianism theory, developed by Betham and John Stuart Mill, basically states that one should act uh, with intention to produce the greatest benefit for the greatest amount of people, to the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. And also, one example is law enforcement. So the police officer kind of just acts on that behalf in regards to law enforcement or public safety, whether he has to put himself and this with the children, sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself to produce the greatest benefit for everyone else society. So sometimes this theory means that we are really not that special, that you have to consider the needs of everyone else, and also in numbers. Also, the one of the examples per in the videos was a restaurant where, whether, for example, for your birthday, if you want everyone else to be happy, and then you're going to choose a restaurant that everyone else wants to go to. But if you want to be selfish and contradict utilitarianism, then you're going to choose a restaurant that you like, and you're going to make everyone else upset because they don't want to be in that restaurant. So there is two options. There's act utilitarianism or classical utilitarianism. There says that you're going to choose to act. Basically, in any given situation, you should choose to act to produce the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So you're going to act on that. And there's also, for example, and one example given was a doctor. So with 5 patients that needed organs to survive, different types of organs. So a patient knows his neighbor that is not really missed by anyone. He's a bad neighbor. So the option was for either to kill the neighbor and use his organs to save 5 people. Again, it doesn't sound ethical, but it just kind of goes with utilitarianism. And there's also the rule of the other option is rule utilitarianism, which is the version of the theory that says that you ought to live by the rules that in general are likely to lead to the greatest good for the greatest. So utilitarianism believes in the long-term benefit of everyone. So if you're gonna kill someone because there's a short-term benefit, well, for example, if you kill one of the gang members just because that one's the head of the gang, then there's still other gang members that can in the short run come in and still cause harm to society. But you want to choose responses or actions that are going to benefit society in the long run. So, contractarianism theory developed by Hobbes, he believed that humans are self-interested individuals that sometimes not always act rational, or they just act on their self best interest. So sometimes they have to enter into contracts. So one of the example is if someone, let's say everyone wanted to drive fast to get to work and not follow traffic signs, so there's going to be all this chaos. So we all had to enter into contract. So we have to give up sometimes being early to work or just drive as we please for and to actually follow those signs and get some safety in return. So we follow those signs, expecting other drivers to follow those signs as well since they're behind the wheel and they got that driver's license. There's some implicit contracts such as the Constitution. So natural US born citizens are naturally enter into that contract without even being asked in the Constitution, especially now since the Constitution was developed since they were born. The founders of the Constitution, they willingly agreed to enter that contract by developing that contract and then ratifying the Constitution and making it the law of the land. So they willingly enter into that contract. So there's a contract that you willingly enter into. So as this kid, I just thought it was a cute picture. What the kid says, tell the vendor I'm not signing the contract until I get my nose back. So just contracts are free contracts that you enter into, and you give up freedom in exchange for protection or benefits. So there are two theories that I believe will apply to public administration today. One of them is utilitarianism, and I find that with national defense, with military, through the military, with law enforcement, and also social services, where you put the people in the front line, kind of sacrificing themselves as they agree to take their job position to disregard its needs, but to focus on the safety of the numbers of people, so providing the greatest benefits to the greatest amount of numbers without taking into consideration their personal needs. And the second one is contractarianism. I also believe that it applies in public administration. For example, where at my job with adult protective services, we a lot of times enter into contract with clients, not really legal contracts, but more like of an agreement contract through our service plans where we tell the client what we can help with, and the clients willing to accept the service, and they agree to sign the service plan, enter into the contract of accepting the services provided by our agency. Finally, virtue, basically, whether it applies to public administration or not. So I first want to just define virtue as Aristotle defined it. It's in the it doesn't really tell you what to do. It's all about the person's character. If you're a good you're a good person, then you're gonna do right actions will follow. So a lot of times, based on Aristotle, virtue is a skill, it's practical wisdom, it's developed through habituation. So you learn it as you practice it. So the more you practice it, the more you fully realize virtue, the more it becomes you, then it's just basically it becomes effortless. You are aspire to be virtuous. So when you become virtuous, you become into a state of autonomia, where it's human flourishing. So one of the examples are with virtue is just that there's actually two streams to virtue. There's when you have a deficiency, where you're at the golden mean of the actual virtues, and then you actually have excess. So one of the examples is courage. So you have a deficiency, then you're gonna be a coward. But if you have excess, then you're gonna be reckless. So virtue is you want to be right at the golden point, right at the middle, where you have the courage. So that's basically virtue. So I feel that it does apply to public administration as a lot of times people are hired. We don't really know much about the person who's being hired, but you're hoping that this person is going to have some values, ethics, is going to have that character to do everything on the public's best interest, to follow the mission of the agency, and also to do proper use of the public funds or public uh, devices are purchased with public funds. So I believe it really applies to that, as also this hired professionals also either have followed a code of ethics, or they're also being provided with a code of ethics followed by the agency. So I do feel that virtue applies, since and it's very necessary for public administration today, since you want this person to just have that character to do the good for the agency and for the well-being of all the people who we as public administrators serve. So now that I talked about the theories and applied it to examples of public administration today, and also talked about virtue and how it applies to public administration today, I really hope that everyone's striving through the course, and that we all strive with this ethical dilemmas, and we strive with making the right choice, and for the better good for the great number of the people that we serve. I really hope that you enjoyed my presentation. I'm sorry if I made it a little long. I tried to go as short as possible, but thank you for taking the time to view my presentation. I'm looking forward to see you guys' presentations. And these are just the references that I use. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend. And thank you again.